Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name's Barbara Radzevicius and I'm Bondi Quilter. This is mainly a channel about quilting. I talk a lot about quilting, quilt making, all different things about quilting. I mean, how to make quilts, all different patterns. I just love them, and fabrics, just love it. I also do talk a little about knitting. I am not an expert knitter, but I do like knitting just to keep my hands, busy when when I'm on the go or when I want to relax at night and I can't see very well to quilt. So yeah, some quilting, a lot of quilting this week. So I'm putting together a little quilt and I'm really excited to show you how I do it from scratch. So I've got the quilt top that we've seen already, but I pinned it up and it's ready to have the binding on. So I hope you join me for that. I also have finished a vest, I know, and I'm wondering if I should put the sleeves on because, me and sleeves. So I've put a short video of me wearing it and I'd like to know your input on it because someone else's perspective, on how things actually look. I do like vests, mainly because of the sleeve thing, but so I have knit this with Drops Soft Tweed, I think it is. I had 8 balls of it, yes, Drops Soft Tweed. I had 8 balls and this only took 4. Very easy pattern, it's a magpie pattern, one that I just know how to make. I cast on 260 stitches, 2x2 rib, and then just knit a square basically, so 12 inches to the armholes and 10 inches to the shoulder. Love the 3 needle bind off on the shoulder. That's my buzzer. I'm back. Yeah, so beautiful Drops Soft Tweed. I love it. It is so lovely and it's got an alpaca mix. Talk about that a bit more. And this is the vest as it is. Really like it. Love the color. I love bottle green. I've always been in love with bottle green. I don't know if it suits me or not, but I just love it. Yeah, I've had a jumper made with bottle green. I got it when I was 19. Still got it. I don't wear it. I have retired it, but I love it. And it was 2x2 rib. I think that's probably what started me off with bottle green and 2x2 rib. But let me know what you think about the sleeves. It's too warm to wear it now. So I'll have to put it away until there's a cold day or something. I have got 3 acquisitions to talk about. It's 2 meters of each of linen, beautiful linens. I'm going to make 3 more Felicia dresses. Not in this episode though. And I also made some bindings for Judith. And what I thought would be half, from half a meter we would get, let's say 4 meters, but actually there you get 10 meters of binding from half a meter. I think it's unreal. It's like magic, isn't it? But making binding is a really necessary part of the process. So John cut the 2.5 inch strips. I sewed them up and he ironed them, and they just have to be rolled up, and that'll be a good acquisition for Judith, who makes more quilts than I do. But yeah, it's handy to have bindings. And I think that might be what we'll be talking about this episode. If you like this type of episode, mainly quilting, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and it'd be great. It's great to see you back again. I returning friends, my new friends. I'm so happy to see you here, and I hope you like everything that we talk about with quilts and knitting. So I also did a sunset through the week, and it was spectacular. So that will be here too. Okay, let's jump in. I'm going to make some binding. Well, I'm making some binding for Judith, but John's going to cut it out for me. And this is how he does it. How big a piece was that? 1/2 metre?
Yeah.
So 1/2 metre, he folds it like a kite with the corners in, then folds it in half. He's very precise. That's why I like him cutting.
I'm lining the line up on the edge.
Yep. And he's going to cut 2.5-inch strips out of these 6 pieces of fabric, 1/2 metres from Judith. Then I'll take them back to her when I've sewn them up and John's ironed them. It's a 2-man thing, this. And these are the other colours. They're beautiful. So the next step is sewing them up. And as you get to the middle, the pieces get bigger. But I like sewing them on the angle. So makes a nice 1/2 metre will do a big quilt or a couple of little quilts. It's very handy to have a backup, and this fabric reminds me of those licorice all sorts. Remember licorice all sorts with the very bright colours and licorice in between? Well, I love the in between, not so much the licorice. John liked the licorice part. Nearly there. Judith's making a quilt for one of my grandsons, and it's the fabric she's going to put for the binding on his. So. There's a little tiny bit left over. So 14 pieces of varying sizes from 1/2 metre. Stripes are really good for making into binding. I really like them. I think they add a lot of detail. A nice frame for a quilt. I'll leave it here. I'll just fold it once more, and then we'll go to the next step. Won't be today though, because we went out yesterday and I am tired. So maybe tomorrow Well, John's going to the shed, so I might do it when he's away. So yeah. So that took John about half an hour, and I've got 7 lots to now sew into continuous strips, and they'll be ironed. This one is called Gatsby. Neat. I like it when you can read the names on the salvage. They give them nifty names and not just numbers. But yeah, I'll sew those in a couple of days, or maybe not until the weekend. We'll see anyway. There are a couple of days in between where I'm not sewing or doing anything really. But yeah, neat pile. So that will be, if they're half meters, that will be 1, 2, 3, 3.5 meters of binding I'll be making. It's great. Okay, so now I'll show you how I make binding. And I really don't want the selvage on, but I will leave space for that when I'm cutting. So match these up like this, and you can see that this has got the selvage on it too. So I want a small part left over here and here. And then I will chain piece them. So it goes pretty fast, so it would only take me like 5 or 10 minutes to sew half a meter of selvage. So I like to have the needle down. This is just me sewing. And I put it on that gap there. And then I'll sew over to this one. And then I'll keep going. So you can see how we do the attaching the pieces on the angle. Next step is to cut all the pieces and then cut the selvage. So I know this is an extra step, but I remember I had the selvage and I don't want it. I'm just cutting a few threads off. When you open up, you see it is pretty much perfect. Then John will open this up flat, iron it, fold it over, and we will have a very nice binding. And that's how I do bindings, and these ones are for Judith. So this is the next step before ironing. I've got them all stripped together. I'm just going to snip them apart. And then I'll have one continuous, about 4 meters I would say, of binding. Could be more. Is this how you do your binding? That's it. Next step, ironing. John just measured them and there is 10 meters. 10 meters from half a meter of fabric. That is great. This is a small quilt that I'm hoping to pin up. There's 20 blocks there. They're 10-inch blocks. I really love it. It's very graphic, isn't it? And it has a mid-century mod. modern vibe, I would think. I'm not going to put a border on it, I don't think. So still thinking about this, but I don't think so. I think I'll just put a binding on it, and it'll be a nice little baby quilt. Very colourful. I do love the black and white squares in some of the blocks. I think that's very nifty. But I am into black and white tartan at the moment for some reason, and I want to make a dress out of it. Just have to find the right fabric. Maybe in a linen or a cotton linen blend. Not sure. Still have to find it. But yeah, talking about this quilt, and then I have a small piece of batting left over from another project, and I'm going to use that. It is a wool blend, a very thin one, so I really like thin battings if I can find them. And Spotlight usually has sales on, which are very good, and you can buy like 15 meters for 40% off, which is really a good buy. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. But I think I will not put a border on it, and the binding might be a dark one, I'd say. That's what I'm hoping to do this time. Let's see how we go with this. As you know, I'm a collector, and I have collected quite a few of those little ears from Binding, and triangles from Jacob's Ladder Quilts, and they are all the same size, just different colours. Aren't they just so beautiful? It's just like Murano glass in a jar. So pretty. So I've started to make this quilt top into a quilt, and I only have a small, well, it's John's jigsaw puzzle table, and yeah, it fits on here sideways, which is excellent, but it takes up the whole top. And as you can see, I've got my trusty little weights holding it up there, and I've already layered it. So I've got the back, the batting. It is a piece of leftover batting, so I cut it in half, and I'm going to have a center seam on it. I don't do seams or anything. I just overlap the batting and pin and then quilt it really so that it stays all together. It always works, so that's how I'm doing it. So I'll keep you in touch on each step of it, but I'm doing pins at the moment, so I'm pinning up. I've got one pin in. Tomorrow I will do the other half, because I've only got half there. Other half's on the chair, and when it's all pinned up we can move it. So trim it and then put the binding on, and I'll show you how I do the binding, because a few people have asked me to explain how I do the binding first before quilting, and it's very exciting. So I'm spacing the pins pretty closely together. Love the curved pins. And on the edge, I like to pin pretty closely where there's a seam, just to hold it all together. Doesn't take very long to do this pinning up. While it used to take me ages thread basting on the floor, and yeah, now I use pins. When I've done this, I will trim the quilt, because I'm not putting a border on it, and then I will sew around at 1/4 inch in, just on the sewing machine, and then I'll put the binding on. And you know I like machine binding. I think it just holds a utility quilt together. But this, I'm thinking, because it's so graphic, might be a wall quilt. We don't know, do we? It is very pretty. And I've used a lot of my grunge fabric here. I love grunge. You know, that beautiful muddy colours. Even the white. And so I have a collection of grunge. Love the line. And Judith has helped me with collecting grunge too. I mean, she's got a nice collection also. I think hers is a bit bigger than mine. But you know, it's gorgeous, isn't it? That's my toolbox of quilting stuff. It's got about 2,000 pins in it. Quilting needles that I use. Tailor's chalk pens. More pins. So I don't mind any type of pins really. These are 3/9 sharps. And I do like them thin with a biggish eye and strong. The steel ones just glide through the fabric, make it easier to pull the... Sorry about the wobble, it's a card table. But I only have this small part to do now, and I'll leave it till tomorrow, I think. This is the first step that I do when sewing the binding on first, so I'm just going to sew right around the edge, 1/4 inch in, then it'll be trimmed, and then I will attach the binding, and I'll show you how I do that. Why I put the quilting on first, the binding on first, is it holds everything together. I've been doing it for years. I think I probably got this very neat hint from Judith, who has been making utility quilts longer than I have, but I do it for every quilt now because I think it's just so great. But it holds everything together. I don't get any wrinkles in the back. You might think I would, but no. I use a lot of the curved pins. That may help, probably does. But yeah, I don't have a problem with the back with little pleats or anything in it. And so I just love this step with putting the binding on first. And also, when I've finished quilting, I don't have to put the binding on. So it's a win-win for me.
You right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm going to chop now.
All right.
I could hear your voice.
Yeah.
Okay, just tell me if you're going to tape again, okay?
Yep. Oh, hang on just a minute.
Okay. Tell me when you're finished.
I've sewn all around the edge now, 1/4 inch, and I'm ready to trim it. And I'm thinking I can trim it myself. I'll get back to you. It's really important to have a very sharp wheel in the rotary cutter. This is a titanium blade and it's really, really good one. So you can see it makes a very neat edge. Turn it. You can see the back is nice and flat. And some of the pieces are uneven, but basically I line it up as a 1/4 inch on my ruler because that's the when I go to put the binding on, I will sew it on inside the cut line. Okay. Trimmed all the edges and I'm ready to sew the binding on now. And so the raw edge goes exactly on the raw edge of the quilt. I will sew that far in so that it misses the stitches, and then I'll fold it over and sew it again. I've chosen this green as the binding, and I think it goes nicely overall with the whole thing. I was lucky that the quilt is 42 inches wide and the backing is 45 inches wide, so it's perfect. So I'm going to touch the binding now, and I'll start a little way down from the corner, and I have a flat edge because I have a lot of problems sewing the two ends of the binding together, and I'm going to put my machine so the needle is the next one over, so it's not a 1/4 inch, it's the next setting over, whatever that is, and I need enough so that when I join it, it's easy enough to do. And we start off with a double stitch, and then I just sail around the edge of it. And you can see that I miss the first row of stitching. So I'm coming up to a corner now. I'm coming up to a corner, and I like to do a nice mitered corner, and this is how I do it. So I go a couple of stitches just before the line, leave the needle in, turn it, and go backwards. Then I take this out and I fold this so that I get a nice miter, so it goes right up to the corner, and I have a nice 90-degree angle there. Go right to the edge here, put it back on, and I'll show you how it looks. We'll just go a little further. And this is how it looks. And it's really easy to fold it over and you get a nice miter there. So when I sew the binding down, I'll show you how I do the mitered corner, but it's very easy. I love that that corner way of doing it. So you can see where this row of stitching is the last row of stitching here, and this is the first one, 1/4 inch. I have attached it all to the front, and now I'm going to fold it over so that it just goes past the last row of stitching. And you can see on the front it will be a very nice binding, but that's the last one. I'm going to do it on the sewing machine. I'm not going to do it by hand because it just takes me too long. And yeah, I like the finished effect, so that's what I'm going to do now. I have a finished knitted project. Or maybe not. I'm wondering if I should put sleeves on it. You know, the sleeve thing in me. It's just very tricky. But anyway, I've got a vest, and I'll show you how it looks in a video shortly. I made it from Drops soft tweed. Oh, it's beautiful. I used 4 balls, and I've got 4 left, so enough for sleeves. And I love this row pattern. It's just a garter stitch with in between pearls, and in between this row is a rib, knit 1 purl 1. I really like it. I think it's super cute, but this is a magpie vest. I can't follow a pattern. I buy patterns and they seem to be too many pages or too much information or something, and I get lost. I like the neckline, and I saw someone talking about it recently, and when you get to the last 2 rows of the ribbing, you knit a row and then cast off in purl, and it gives this beautiful edge, and I really like it. That and a tubular bind off are my favourites. Let me unwrap it and I'll show you how it looks. So you can see it's a boxy square. I cast on 260 stitches because I am a size 16 or 18, and I like it a bit loose, and I want it to go over my dresses, so I think it's really nice, very easy to do. I thought I'd just put a row of garter stitch in the ribbing. I think it looks nice there, and on the top too. And I knit this on 4.5mm needle. So you can see the sleeves are just ready to either put a sleeve in or leave, or put an edge on. Not sure what to do. But the fabric feels so lovely. I think this is one of my softest vests. I'm not going to block it because there's no need to, really. I never used to block things. So I'll just leave it as is and have it as a new vest every time I put it on, let's say. So here I am wearing it. It's a long weekend this weekend here in Australia, and I'm sorting wool. All those little bits of wool that I've got in my basket for this Coziest Memory blanket by Kempler Wray. It's the best pattern, friends, for using up those little tiny pieces and minis. And so I've got the outline of mine here. So that's how big it's going to be. I think 20 by 20 squares, and I've been working on these ones. And that one I'm half finished. And my basket is full, and we call this the basket blanky. It's a knitted quilt, and they're all my little bits. This is a fun project, and I hope to get through some of those pieces in that basket, but it takes me about 40 minutes to knit a square. Has anyone knit this fabulous pattern? How long does it take you to knit a square? I've got 23 by 23 stitches, that's 46. And I'm using 3.5mm needles, and I'm using light DK and fingering weight. Yeah, great little pattern. You can see mine's well used. I have 2 acquisitions this week. 2 beautiful pieces of fabric, linen fabric, from Delinium in Coffs Harbour, Australia. I think it's Coffs Harbour, pretty sure. And it's extra wide linen, so I only need 2 meters of it and I can get the whole dress and sleeves. And the colors I bought are mustard, isn't that beautiful, and cocoa. And as I've had so much success with the Felicia pinafore dress from Tessuti, I thought I would make 2 more while I'm on a roll. And I also found that I could make them and hop in and out of it without getting trapped and not being able to take it off without a zip, which is a big thing for me. And so I'm going to make 2 more summer dresses. This is coming up as grey, but it's actually very nice brown. And the mustard looks pretty much mustard. Let me see if I can get you a better colour of it. No, the light is just making it grey blue, but it's actually brown. Yeah, 2 meters of extra wide linen. So I'm hoping to cut those out when I'm feeling really good. That means it is hot today, friends. It's like it was 15 degrees at night and it's only early spring. So when it's a bit more cooler, I will cut them out. See how we go without a zip. I'm hoping it will look really good. That's it for this week, friends. I'm signing off. Thank you for coming to see me. I do appreciate you all. I love to read comments about what you're doing and where you're from especially. And yeah, so exciting to see where you all come from. And I'm so lucky to have friends, everywhere. It's so exciting for me because, I had pen friends when I was younger, and just getting mail from anywhere other than where I live was so exciting. And yeah, so drop me a comment and let me see where you live and what you think about what my work is showing up to be. And yeah, tell me what you're doing. I'm so interested to see what everybody makes. Really love hearing about your projects, and I hope you like hearing about my projects. So yeah, see you soon. Bye, friends.